What came first, the music or the misery? People worry about kids playing with guns or watching violent videos, that some sort of culture of violence will take them over. Nobody worries about kids listening to thousands, literally thousands of songs about heartbreak, rejection, pain, misery, and loss. Did I listen to pop music because I was miserable? Or was I miserable because I listened to pop music?
You make me sick!
Hey, thanks for joining us. You're listening to High Fidelity TV podcast. I am your host, Joseph Ngo, and I am here with my co-host, Edwin. How you doing, Edwin?
Doing great, Jeff. Good to be here.
Thank you for joining me. So this is High Fidelity TV. We're going to be talking solely about High Fidelity, the TV show on Hulu, which is based on the 2000 film with the same name, starring John Cusack, directed by Stephen Frears. The series just dropped on February 14th, 2020, right on Valentine's Day. So it's kind of the anti-Valentine's Day show. So this being a High Fidelity podcast, we want to talk about our fascination with the original film. So Edwin,
Yes.
what is your connection to the original film?
I am a huge fan. Love the movie. It took me by surprise. I hadn't read the book. I didn't know much about it other than it was about music. John Cusack was in it, but this was before Jack Black blew up, and it totally caught me by surprise. I could relate to it as a music fan. So many quotable lines still, reference that movie and quotes to this day. It's a big part of my pop culture life for sure.
Exactly. And we should preface this by saying we're both DJs. We both collect vinyl. You more so than I. You've been in the game longer than me as a record collector and as a DJ. So let me get a sense of what kind of music do you spin, Edwin? You call it kind of all encompassing, right?
Yeah, you know what? That's why I can relate to all of the characters from the movie and the show. It's like in another life, I could have, worked at a record store or been a record store owner. So I love it all. I love the rock and roll, the indie, the punk, but I love rap and R&B and soul and funk and all that stuff. I love country. So yeah, I feel at home with all sorts of good music. All
Okay.
types.
Yeah, sure. What were the last couple of records you've picked up recently?
I just got the new Tame Impala album not too long ago. I'm going to be DJing a disco-themed birthday party, so I had to stock up on some disco records.
Excellent, yeah. Yeah, as far as myself, I'm mainly a hip-hop DJ. Obviously, I get into more eclectic genres as I aged. A lot of funk, soul, bossa nova. Obviously, right now I'm really into K-pop, so it's of a younger generation of music, but I do find it fascinating, the culture of K-pop. It's just like the idea of the fandom and how they kind of idolize the idols as gods.
Sure.
It's kind of like they belong to them almost. And that's why they're kind of like so restricted, right? They're not allowed to date. They're they have so many they're almost like it's almost like modern slavery. I don't want to go so far as to say that, but you know what I mean? It's like it's such a great marketing idea of like these artists belong to the people.
Yeah.
And like they make so much money, and it's so appealing to the masses. But as far as going back to High Fidelity, I think I connect. I mean, it's a film about DJs and music lovers
Sure.
as a backdrop, but
Sure.
it's more, I think, saying something larger about like, you know, like love, right? And this character of Rob Gordon is kind of like, I connect to him because he's kind of OCD and like borderline eidetic.
Sure.
Like he has a borderline eidetic memory for like nostalgic events of the past. Like he you know that scene where he's organizing his records in autobiographical order. He's like,
Sure.
so if I have to look for this record, I have to remember that I bought it as a gift, but I didn't give it to her for personal reasons, right?
Yeah.
Kind of I love that idea of like, I'm kind of like that, you know. So
I think this series definitely touches on lots of themes, and which I'm sure we'll get to when we talk about each particular episode. But yeah, themes that go beyond just music.
Yeah.
For sure.
yeah, that's the cool thing about it. It's not about like record collecting and, you know, having this kind of useless trivia of all pop culture, but it's just, you know, it informs the characters kind of thing,
Sure.
right? So, and just to remind you guys, the website just launched. It is, we haven't bought a domain yet, so you can find more episodes on highfidelitytv.wordpress.com. That's highfidelitytv.wordpress.com. And we haven't set up an email yet, but we will in the future. So for now, if you can just subscribe to the blog page, that would be great, and you could be updated with future episodes. So to continue our intro, I wanted to talk about us more, because we're going to be spending a lot of time with each other talking. So in true high fidelity fashion, I wanted to ask you, Edwin, what are your top 5 films with record collecting characters? I guess I didn't want to say about record collecting, because they're not really
Sure.
about record collecting,
Sure.
like we said. So how about we do it from 5 to 1? Because, you know, in the movie and the show,
Yeah,
they go
sure.
from 1 to 5, which is kind of anticlimactic, I think. It's
Sure.
like, why save 5 for last? Save 1 for last. But yeah, why don't you go from 5 to 1?
5. I had a hard time coming up with the 5th one. I definitely had 4, but 5, I would say Empire Records, just because of that era, the 90s. I always, as a high school student, dreamt of working at my local Tower Records, and
Yeah.
it just seemed so...
You never worked at a record store?
I never did.
I could totally see you working at a record store.
A lot of people would come up to me and ask me, thinking that I worked there because I'd spend so much time.
Yeah.
They'd ask me, "Oh, do you work here?" And I'd say, "No, but I know where. Well, I know where to find what you want." And I usually could tell them where they could find it, even if I knew it was misfiled.
I know where that Apollonia 6 record is.
Yeah.
By the way.
Exactly.
It's
So
in the
I
soul
would.
section.
Empire Records, great soundtrack as well, but just they made working at a record store look as fun as it
Okay.
probably is.
Who is in that?
I want to say
'Cause I can't remember anybody. in that.
Liv Tyler,
Right. Yeah, that's the only probably the big name.
Renee Zellweger, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to put it on my list, but I just don't remember. I've seen it. I've seen it once, and obviously it didn't leave a great impression on me because I never revisited it. I believe it may have been too kind of slapsticky for me, and too kind of like silly and rom-com-y, which High Fidelity kind of has elements of that, but at its core, it's a drama. You know, it's a comedic drama. It's more down. It's more gritty and I don't want to say down to earth, but like, you know, closer to reality. So, but sorry, number 4 for you.
Number 4, I have Wild Style, just that documentation of early DJ culture.
It's so good. I should have been mine.
In York.
As Barry says.
So,
damn.
Yeah.
So good. To this day I haven't seen Wild Style. I've seen, clips of it.
Sure.
And obviously the scene where he's like DJing and who's it? DJ?
Grandmaster Flash in his kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like breakdancing or something.
Yeah.
I need to see more of like those like late 80s like b-boying Wild Style. I've seen Beat Street.
Okay. Yeah.
But like I need to see more of those.
Yeah, obviously important the early stages of DJing as we know it.
Sure. Yeah.
Number 3, I'd say Pretty in Pink. Again,
I don't have any of your. Wow.
No, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah, it would be boring if we had the same list.
Yeah.
Pretty in Pink, just again working in.
Forgot that they were working in a record store.
Record store.
Wow.
And just the age of going into a record store and seeing the full-size huge posters of all your favorite bands. It reminds me of my local record store growing up, having all the coolest posters. They were huge. You're like, how can I get these? Oh, these are too expensive. I wish I could have every one in the store, but it kind of brought back that part of my life where record stores rule.
Awesome, great choice. I haven't seen it in forever. I got to rewatch it now.
Great, another great soundtrack as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Number 2, between 2 and 1, it could be 1A, 1B. I'll say number 2 is Ghost World, which could easily be number 1.
Yeah.
But just the truth of record collectors, how it can be ridiculous at times, like when Seymour has his party and all the stereotypical record nerds come out and this and that. It's funny, but it certainly introduced a lot of people to certain records that I certainly had never heard before.
Absolutely.
And great movie.
Can you imagine Seymour as a DJ? He'd be spinning like ragtime blues, oh no, that's not doesn't have the traditional 5-bar stanzas or whatever he says.
That'd be great. And so number 1 is Scratch.
Probably blew my mind. I thought it was okay. No High Fidelity.
Well, I thought it would be against the rules to
it's not.
include High Fidelity in
this is a High Fidelity show.
In a show about High Fidelity. High Fidelity would be easily number 1, but I
didn't crack your top 5.
I didn't want it. It would be like wearing a band shirt
Get it
to the concert.
This podcast is over. I denounce you as my co-host. No, that's great. That's a great choice.
But Scratch
is great.
Blew my mind. It opened my eyes to DJ culture, and it inspired me in so many ways.
Great choice. Awesome, great list. I only have 2 of your choices on my list, but let me start with my number 5, Juice. You probably forgot that there's like a DJ battle in there. Okay. It's not really about record collecting yet, but there is records in it. Very little, not that little, but from what I remember, it was a huge, significant subplot of the film. So, and they hang out in record stores, and obviously it's like the late '80s. So, number 4 is Almost Famous.
Okay,
it's more of like a live.
Sure.
They're going on tour, and it's like a rock journalist. But the way that they fetishize, the Zooey Deschanel character, she has like a record collection that her mom like kind of, what's the word?
Like forbids
her from having.
Right.
So she the way she keeps it, like it's very precious.
Yeah.
And then when she passes it along to our main character, and then like he looks at each title
Yeah.
with like he like idols, he like worships it,
Yeah.
like each little the cover art. And it reminds me, it's just taking me back to the time like when I used to like when I first like saw my mom's record collection, and
Yeah.
just like listen to a record and like look at the cover art and look at the liner notes and look at the the concept photos and sometimes the lyrics are on there, and just like listening to it intently, and it just brought me back to that, and I just love the way they fetishize that. You know what I mean? So, Almost Famous for me is number 4. Number 3, Ghost World.
Okay.
Again, just I'd never seen people obsess over fetish things like that since High Fidelity. I think Ghost World came after, right? Like 2001.
Yeah,
So-
and when Enid keeps replaying that one song that she's in love with, what's that song? Devil Got Your Woman, or
Yeah, Devil Got My Woman. Yeah. Skip James. Yeah.
I can relate to that of just
Right.
replaying the same song over because you love it so much. Yeah, so
it's like
it
something
captures
clicks.
that
It's
feeling.
just like, oh
really
my
well.
god. Yeah, it is great. Like from the opening scene where she's like dancing to that Bollywood number,
Yeah.
and you're like, wow, this is kind of vintage and like otherworldly. It's like on another level. Cool. So number 2 for me is Scratch.
Okay.
Same thing you said. It's just like it just captures almost like like the other side of Ghost World, where it's just like when you go into DJ Shadow's like basement, or no, when he goes to that record store where he's just like in a corner.
Yeah.
And he has like all these, like you see like all these stacks of 7-inches, and you're just like, whoa, this guy has a problem.
Yeah.
But like for him it's not a problem, obviously. It's like it inspires him, right? It fires it fuels the fire for his creativity. So and yeah, it's such a great film about the history of DJing and scratching, obviously. So yeah, I haven't seen it really since it came out. It was like 2004 maybe,
Sounds
something
right,
like that. Yeah. So Scratch is a great movie. I gotta rewatch it. Number 1, High Fidelity. Come on, I had to put that number 1, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, we're gonna talk about this film so much, so I don't want to get into too much about it. But again, like I said before, Rob, I just connect with him so much. Like the way he just obsesses over every little, minutia, every little detail of his life, his
Sure.
relationships, his exes, like what went wrong here, and then he'll pin it back to maybe, an era where he bought this record or such and such. So I'm very much in tune with that kind of personality. So I'm not that crazy, but so cool. I thought that was a pretty cool way to get to know each other.
Yeah.
Do you want to do another quick top 5 or?
Sure, let's do it. Oh,
to get
before
to know
you
you.
go top 5,
Okay.
while we were talking about, I didn't think about Shaun of the Dead, but that scene where he's like throwing records from his record box, and he's like, I forget what record he can't throw because it's so good, but yeah.
And then he said the soundtrack to
White
Batman.
Okay.
He's like, throw it.
Yeah,
Something
might have
like
been
soundtrack to
was it
something.
White Lines that he doesn't
Maybe,
throw, but
yeah. Yeah, that's a great, Obviously, Edgar Wright is probably a record collector. I'm surprised that Tarantino doesn't have any. I guess Jackie Brown is the only Pulp Fiction they play a record in there. But I can't think of any other. I mean, they're always playing like music on the radio and stuff like that, right? But I guess the bride in Kill Bill works at a record store, but like we don't see it.
Sure.
She talks about it, right? But Tarantino is a huge record collector too.
Yeah,
So.
that's probably another top 5 like best movie soundtracks for another time. But yeah.
Also, well, before we get into our top 5 Desert Island albums of all time, I wanted to ask you, what did you think in general of the High Fidelity TV show and how it compares to the film?
Overall, I really enjoyed it. When I first saw the ad for it, I didn't know what to think. I was hoping for the best, but maybe fearing the worst. But from the get-go, when they make references to the previous movie, you know that they're respecting the original movie, but you know they're gonna put their own twist on it. So I like that blend of referencing the past, but also being its own thing. So
yeah, that's great.
Right from the get-go, when they talk about, when they mention Kevin Bannister, you're like, okay, I see where this is going. So yeah,
number 2 on the all-time
I really like it.
Heartbreak list or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's great how they revere, yet they redefine. I think that's a term that I used when I was writing about it. So I do love that it doesn't feel like it has to stick too close to the source material.
Yeah.
To where it feels constricted, because it feels like it can open up and be its own thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a huge strength for the rest of the show. And this is just based on the pilot.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I wanted to talk about how it reminds me of She's Gotta Have It, the Spike Lee joint, because another remake of a past property that's more of it's like a 30-40-year-old movie that they remade into a modern audience for a modern time with a newer generation character, so
yeah.
And it's an older film modernized to be more woke and edgy, while maintaining the general structure of the original, so same thing with High Fidelity. It's like taking recognizable scenes, lines, moments, and constructing a whole new plot, like, and updating it for today, right? So, but where I think I think She's Gotta Have It is a bit too self-important.
Okay.
And because Spike Lee directed everything, so you feel like his pretension is bleeding through a little bit. But that's a whole nother conversation. I wanted to ask you too, what did you think of the Chicago? They moved it from Chicago to Brooklyn.
I didn't mind it. I guess if you want to make the show its own thing, it makes sense to relocate it.
It's a good point.
But it makes sense, Brooklyn is a place where you'd expect to find a cool record store.
Yeah, it feels more iconic locations and monuments, right?
Sure. And we were talking about how just the movie remixing the book, the book set in England, and so if the movie is going to remix it and set it in Chicago, well, why not remix it again for the TV show? So
yeah, and I didn't know that before you pointed it out to me, so thank you. And Nick Hornby, or is it a Hornby?
Hornby.
Nick Hornby is the original author of the book High Fidelity, and he's English.
Yes.
And he set the movie in, you know where?
I want to say London.
Yes, okay, so I'm on the Wikipedia.
It could be
London record shop owner in his mid-30s, Rob Fleming. And then the movie turns into Rob Gordon living in Chicago. So there you go, there you have it. And then the TV show, it is Robin. I don't think we get her last name. It could be Brooke.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Brooks.
Okay.
Yeah, because her brother in the show is Cameron Brooks. So I'm guessing that they have the same last name. Okay, cool. So real quickly.
Yep.
Top 5 desert island albums of all time.
Okay.
From 5 to 1. This will give us another, a sense of what we're like musically.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But I'm comfortable with if what I say is what I would be stuck with. I would be totally fine with that. But in no particular order.
Oh, come on. This is a top 5 list.
Top 5? Oh, gosh. Okay. Boy.
Yeah. putting you on the spot here.
You know, when you do a top 5 though, they're all number ones.
That's true.
They
They squeezed into
because oh man, I
made it
left
to
off so much good stuff. So I'm gonna break the rules in no particular order because
okay.
if my 5's 1 and my 1's 5, it's okay. I would say one of my top 5 desert island discs would be London Calling by The Clash, my favorite band of all time, my favorite record by them. It's got so many songs, so I feel like I'm getting bang for my buck, but it's definitely not quantity over quality. It's like quantity and quality. It's like so many songs, and they're all really good, and they span so many genres. So if you can only pick 5, you want to get, variety,
Okay.
Second one would be the Stone Roses' first album. Like my heart is with British indie music. I could have picked a Smiths record or a Blur record or whatever, and I would be happy with those, but the Stone Roses' first album is immaculate from top to bottom, start to finish, amazing. Third, I think this would definitely fit in with High Fidelity, both the movie and the show. I think they've played music from him in both, but Marvin Gaye's What's Going On,
okay.
That album, amazing. Meant a lot to me. I'm know it like the back of my hand, so definitely Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Okay.
I'm not picking a studio album. I guess I'm cheating. I'm picking their greatest hits Chronicle.
Okay.
Again, quality and quantity.
Exactly.
Whenever I listen to that, I never get sick of that album. I sing along to it every time. And the last one, number 5 is always tough because so many albums could fit in there, but I'm going to pick Wilco's Being There. Big Wilco fan, big Uncle Tupelo fan. I love some of their albums, but Being There, double album again. Quality, quantity.
What year was that album produced?
Good question.
Is that a newer album?
No. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I want to say late 90s.
Okay. Right.
Late 90s.
Okay. Interesting list there, Edwin. A lot of safe classic choices along with some newer.
Very safe, Rob.
Very pussy.
What are you going to do? Track 1, side 1, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. It was 1996, so
okay.
That was right.
Wow, a lot of I figured your list would be a lot more rock centric and British invasion. So yeah, it's great. It definitely a lot of stuff that I'm not aware of. The only thing I recognize is the Clash and Stone Roses. So obviously in CCR, but cool. I think mine is a bit more popular. Okay. Because I've been more in a pop music headspace recently, but I do have one or two kind of avant-garde, eclectic taste. So my number 5 is I've been huge into BTS.
Oh yeah.
So it's gonna be Wings by BTS. I think it's like their first kind of mature album that talked about erotic, like it's more like it's more like a sexy album.
Okay.
And it's like their first concept album. So now my number 4 is Crystal Castles, number 1.
Okay.
So it's an album I can listen to over and over. I can never get tired of it. Like the chiptune 8-bit sampling.
Sure.
Alice's vocals are amazing. Just like the thrash electronica. I just never heard it before. When I first heard it, I was like, it wasn't so aggressive that it turned me off, and it wasn't too pop that it was like, oh, it's too pop. I don't know. It was like just perfect, So I love that album. I can listen to that any day of the week. Number 3 for me is OK Computer by Radiohead.
Okay.
Kind of a safe choice there, but again, like their first concept album is just a masterpiece. I love every track on there. Paranoid Android, Lucky. I love the Karma Police.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Jesus Christ, like I don't think there's a song on there that's it's a filler. I could listen to that track from, you know, cover to cover. No, what's the beginning to end?
Yeah.
I don't know what the term is for albums, but cool. Number two and my two and my number one are more of like nostalgia purposes and stuff I listened to when I was growing up. So I'm an '80s child, but one of my first CDs that I bought, one of my first cassettes that I ever bought, and then I bought the CD later, was Doggy Style by Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Okay.
I listened to that over and over. And, I remember just like the novelty of it when I first heard him like cursing, like the parental advisory. I'm like, holy shit, I'm getting away with this, and this is so awesome, you know. But yeah, that you know, the G-Funk era, Dr. Dre's production is just flawless to me. I grew up on that.
Sure.
I grew up on Snoop Doggy Dogg's lyrics. Is very misogynistic, but it's just classic when you listen to it today. You know, like I could play "Ain't No Fun" today. I played it over the weekend and had the crowd singing along with me. And,
Yeah.
you know, like when you like turn the volume down to
Sure,
hear the crowd
sure,
sing
sure.
along. I still do that to "Ain't No Fun."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, so many classic bangers on that album. Number one for me, and I know it might be a little taboo to say this, but it's "Bad" by Michael Jackson.
Well, which brings us to a scene from
in the TV show
For
where
sure.
they talk about they're selling a record of Michael Jackson, right?
Right.
Well, we'll get to that when we talk about the episode. But what can I say? Come on, MJ. Like I grew up on MJ. Say what you will about his, you know, alleged, which is probably more than allegations at this point.
Sure.
There's evidence, there's proof, but like, I mean, I like to separate the artist from what he's done. So
Sure.
and especially if you grew up on it and it has a place in your heart, like there's no reason for you to just dismiss that music. That's a part of you. Why, you know,
Yeah, and
why defame the music? You know what I mean?
sure.
It has nothing to do with you personally.
Right.
It's the artist.
and
So
and
I know that this is a whole nother discussion, but
and it's a discussion that is brought up in one of the episodes that
Sure.
we will talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
And
but yeah, I love every track on this album. I grew up on "Bad," the video with that Scorsese
Scorsese.
directed, with Wesley Snipes. Grew up on "Smooth Criminal," you know. So this track just has a special. I grew up on "Moonwalker," so this album just has a special place in my heart. And the production by Quincy Jones. I believe it was his last record that he produced with MJ.
Okay.
If I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken, because I think he did "Dangerous" with like Teddy Riley or something like that. So cool. That gives us an idea of what we're into musically. So, okay, so episode 1, season 1, episode 1 of High Fidelity, top 5 heartbreaks.
My desert island, all-time, top 5 most memorable heartbreaks. In chronological order are as follows. Kevin Bannister, Kat Monroe, Simon Miller, Justin Kitt.
Okay.
This episode was written by Veronica West and I may be mispronouncing this, Sarah Kashurka. I don't know how to say that. Sorry, Sarah, if I'm mispronouncing it. And directed by Jesse Peretz and Jeffrey Reiner. The show was developed and created. Well, developed and it wasn't created. It's the showrunners are Veronica West and Sherry Kashurka. So it's the first 2 episodes were actually written by the showrunners. And all 10 episodes were released on February 14th, 2020. And this episode is 35 minutes long. So, overall impressions, what do you think of this episode?
enjoyed it. Good introduction, good start. You can tell that it is geared towards music lovers. It's geared towards people who are familiar with the movie.
Yeah.
I think someone who's never seen the movie could very well enjoy the TV series on its own, but for someone who's seen the movie, it has that added level of enjoyment because you can remember things from the movie which I would anticipate, but then when they put their own twist on it, you're like, okay, yeah, I see what they're doing. But yeah, I enjoyed it, definitely.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I love all the Easter eggs. From the opening, her opening line is top 5 desert island heartbreaks of all time, and I'm like, I'm hooked. I'm fucking hooked. Like, thank you. And then just the beautiful visage of Zoe Kravitz. Let's talk about the cast real quick, because we're gonna be spending 5+ hours, roughly 5 hours, with these characters. Zoe Kravitz as Rob, Jake Lacy as Clyde, Divine Joy Randolph as Charisse, David Holmes as Simon, recurring characters Kingsley Ben Adir as Russell McCormack, Rainbow Sun Franks as Cameron Brooks, Rob's brother, the guy with the Run DMC fedora.
Right.
What do you think of the cast?
All very likable.
Yeah.
I like how
the trio is really the key here.
Yeah.
And I think they have great chemistry, especially Divine and Simon.
Oh, yeah. You know, all big shoes to fill, and I like how they're not like trying to, you know, do their best impression of who came before them, but I like how it certainly reminds you of characters like you when they come onto the screen for the first time. You know what character they're patterned after.
Right.
But I like how they flipped a lot of things, you know, having Rob be female.
Yeah.
And how
she kind of is the spitting image of what's her name from the movie? Marie DeSalle.
Sure.
What's her real name?
Lisa Bonet.
Lisa Bonet. Yeah. She looks like her, doesn't she?
It's her daughter.
Really?
It's Lenny Kravitz and Lisa Bonet.
Oh my God.
Their daughter.
How did I not know that? That is insane. No wonder.
Well, the Kravitz part, sure, it's on. But
okay,
yeah.
I did not know that was Lisa Bonet's daughter.
Yes.
Insane. You just blew my mind, Edwin.
I think there is a lot of those connections.
Yeah.
Like when they go see, I don't know if this is in episode 1 or episode 2, but when they go see the concert, it's at a place called DeSalle. So, yeah. So, but yeah, I don't want to jump ahead, but
okay.
So I think they try and have these
right.
links and ties.
Yeah. Okay.
Congratulations. You've made it to the top 5, Mac. Number 5. With a bullet.
So, real quick, the episode structure is pretty simple. It's like a 6 evil X's, like Scott Pilgrim, kind of Ghosts of Christmas Past structure. The film starts with a huge breakup with Mac, as Rob gives her top 5 heartbreaks in chronological order. And then, you know, Mac leaves. It's just echoes the structure of the film, right? It's like we know that it's a irreconcilable difference. We don't know what the cause is yet.
Sure.
But we're following Rob. We feel sympathy for Rob.
Yes.
She in this case is such a sad sack and depressed loser. We just connect with her right away. The next scene, we see her go on a date with Clyde, who is played by Jake Lacy. He was in Girls. I think he's a great little comedic actor. What do you think of Clyde?
I like Clyde.
Yeah.
I think from the very beginning through wardrobe choices, they try and set up Clyde to be the square. You know, they have him
he has
wear
like a sweater over his.
Yeah, that quilted vest you see a lot of people wear. It's very like middle of the road, and I think in later episodes they refer to him as the Vest or Mr. Vest or something.
Yeah.
So
he's like a preppy. He's like from Uptown or something.
But
He's definitely not from the hood. As
Yeah.
he calls it. He's like, I'm in your hood. Well, we'll get to that later, but
yeah, I like the casting choice. I like the character. That opening bar scene where they meet and she's trying to walk out
Yeah.
on a date that's
Uh-huh.
not working out.
first glimpse of her fight or flight mode in social situations.
Yes.
She usually flights.
I don't know how many people may have seen this movie called Wonderland by Michael Winterbottom. When I saw that, though, it instantly reminded me of that movie where it opens where the main character, played by Gina McKee, is meeting someone on a blind date, first date, and goes to the bathroom, thinks about it, and then leaves. So
Right.
I don't know if it was a purposeful. I doubt it was, but it was.
Yeah.
It was very.
It reminded you of that.
It reminded
Okay.
me of that.
Wow.
And
deep cut film reference there.
and like you said, the fight or flight. There are certain things in that opening scene where it represents Rob's character. The phone that you see for the first time, it's all cracked and it's all messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does represent Rob's character, how she's a bit broken and she's
It's a visual
kind of
metaphor. Okay.
messed
think
up in
about that
a
too much.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and it's fascinating that that's what brought her back and finished the date off, right? Because, I mean, obviously she's not ready for it. She's not ready to date yet.
sure.
She's coming off of this breakup. She's doing it because she got off the phone with her brother, right? And her brother kind of wanted to force her to go out or something, or said something, and then she was like, "I could have a date," or something like that, right? He was on the phone with she was
Yeah.
on the phone with her brother, which we first get a glimpse of, which is a pretty cool intro. And then when she comes back, they hit it off. You know, they get more drinks. She loves whiskey neat, just like somebody here. Edwin loves whiskey, but
That whole discussion when Fleetwood Mac's Dreams comes on, and I really like that scene because I could relate to it, where it comes on and Clyde is using it just as a conversation starter, but Rob, being the music lover that she is, she gets really deep into it.
Right.
And it shows that difference in worlds between the casual music listener and the real music lover, that the real music lover is just getting really deep into the background and all the facts and the musicians involved. And I don't think Clyde really was expecting the conversation to quite go there,
at all.
but it just shows that I don't know, the two ends of the spectrum.
Sure.
It's almost like they were speaking different languages.
Yeah.
The music lover speaking in details and passionate dialogue about this one song, this one band, and Clyde was just basically nodding his head like yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, he just thought it would be a conversation starter, and she took it to a whole different level.
Yeah, exactly.
And I could
But
totally
he's compelled by that. You could tell that he's not
yeah.
turned off by it.
Yeah. But I think he would even admit that
He welcomes the challenge.
he's
almost.
not on her level.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what would you do?
Yeah, it is a little intimidating for him.
Yeah.
You can tell. And I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but you can tell the rest of their relationship is he's kind of almost trying to catch up to her level, right? So, I find their relationship fascinating. I like that right off the bat, her first date is with somebody completely different.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a good dichotomy of because later in the episode we hear her talk about it's not about what you're like, it's about what you like, right? And it's that's her whole philosophy. And then right off the bat she's with somebody that's not like her at all. It doesn't share the same interests, right? So, But anyway, they hit it off. They sleep together. We find out, Rob. It's a year later because she says I haven't had sex in a year.
Sure.
And then he leaves. They're supposed to have breakfast, and then he leaves. Rob thinks she gets rejected again. She has cereal by herself, right? And then we get into number 2, Kat Monroe. Yeah, dude, she talked about Kevin Bannister already, right?
Yeah, she does.
Kevin Bannister was number 1.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we saw that they just made out for like a couple days, right?
Yeah, and it's
just
cool.
true to the film,
because Kevin Bannister is the one who
was kissing his first girlfriend.
Yeah, and so it's a nice flip on the movie. Even some of the lines, like where Rob says "What a slut." I think in the movie, or if I remember correctly,
it's Rob's friend.
Rob's friend says "slut." Yeah, yeah. So connections there.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Yeah, I completely overlooked the Kevin Bannister thing, but
in that Kevin Bannister scene, a couple of the things that I thought was cool, some modern updates where Rob as a kid is listening to an iPod Classic,
Sure. Yeah.
whereas Rob in the movie might have been listening to like a Walkman, like a tape player, and the young Rob in the show is wearing a Beastie Boys Check Your Head shirt, but then it flips to Rob now, and she's also wearing a Beastie Boys shirt.
Okay.
So just kind of those connections.
Nice, good catch. Yeah, it's a good thing I have you here to check up on all those cool little Easter egg details. So I have next scene is Kat Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
So number 2 on the list, all-time Desert Island Heartbreak, Kat Monroe. And I just wrote here, you fucking bitch, let's work it out. Right?
Yeah, lots to say. I don't know if this was purposeful, but Kat being that Catherine Zeta-Jones. I don't know, maybe that was purposeful.
You're right. You know that they're mindful of stuff like that. So,
but that's where you also see that this version of Rob is bisexual.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. It's like a nice,
absolutely,
twist.
And obviously that the Kat Monroe character is very much like the Catherine Zeta-Jones. I forgot the character's name in the movie, but
yeah. The references Charlie. That's right, Charlie.
Cat! You fucking bitch! Let's work it out!
Charlie, you fucking bitch.
Yeah, going
Let's
back
work it out.
That rain scene, you know everything she's going to say. The whole let's work it out.
Why would you preface let's work it out with you fucking bitch?
But
That's worst.
I thought that was cool where, you're like, okay, I know what she's going to say next, but then there's some curveballs. Like in the movie, John Cusack's character like trips and falls in the rain, which is so very pathetic and pitiful. So I thought...
What happens to Rob in the show?
Nothing happens. I thought she was going to trip in the rain like
she did.
John Cusack did, but she did. So I was like, okay, they're not going to copy everything. But
Yeah. Okay, so the next X was Simon,
yes.
I believe, right? And then we had our first introduction of Simon.
Simon had a theory.
The things that you like are as important. No, more important than what you are like.
Yes.
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Movies, TV, film, literature.
It matters.
Poetry. It matters, right?
Played by David H. Holmes, which I think he's great. I love him. He's introduced through a flashback during one of her DJ gigs, and he's like radio stars, right? Or something. And then I love Simon. I think he has more agency, has a stronger personality, obviously, than Dick in the film. He has more lines. He stands up for himself. He's not like just like the monotone person that Dick is.
I that Simon is like the Dick character because when
he is more introverted.
When Zoe Kravitz says some of the similar lines, and he just starts showing up every day, referring to
Yeah.
Dick at the record store. And so he's definitely representing the Dick character, but I also think he represents some of the Lily Taylor character from the movie,
okay.
because he says, or the movie,
I didn't think about that. Yeah,
you know, they were both lonely and they found
Yeah.
each other,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
had
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of similar interests, and so I think the Simon character is a blend.
Yeah,
Definitely
it's-
more
yeah.
Dick than the Lily
Yeah,
Taylor
it's
character,
an amalgamation, you're
but
right.
has some elements of that. The only
Good
twist
catch.
is Simon stays on as a
Yeah,
friend
yeah,
as
yeah,
opposed to
Lily Taylor's
being
just
out
a
of her
one-off.
life.
Yeah.
Going back to that scene in the DJ booth where Simon goes up to Rob.
Rob says no request, dude.
I thought he was gonna say, someone's gonna say this is a kick-ass song,
Yeah,
and
like
I
in
thought
the-
Rob
like-
would say,
like
I
Laura.
know, but that's cool that they didn't copy everything.
Yeah,
or,
because he's not the Laura character either.
Sure. So, talking about, similarities, but putting their own twist on it, when Simon brings in that Lena Platanos record. I don't know Lena Platanos, but I love these movies because they introduce...
Wait, what's he?
Lena Platanos. He puts on the record and introduces Rob to this record.
Simon?
Yeah, Simon.
Oh,
And
it's during the flashback. Okay.
it in the TV show. So it's a twist on when Dick comes in and plays that Belle and Sebastian
right,
song.
right.
So Lena Platanos is the Belle and Sebastian, basically,
modern
where
Belle and Sebastian.
they're enjoying it.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
then- yeah, this is the next thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then Charisse comes in, and obviously Charisse is the Jack Black character of Barry.
Yeah.
Both loud personalities. And he's like, "Whoa!" She comes in, turns off the record, plugs in her iPhone or her iPod.
Yeah.
And plays "Come On Eileen" by I forget who.
Dexy's Midnight Runners.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is cool because, again, it's an update instead of popping in the tape, which,
Yeah.
I guess there's
tape.
some cool factor with
Yeah.
tape these days, but yeah, it would be more likely
exactly.
to
It's
plug
modern,
in your
yeah,
phone.
Yep. And then, and then she just gets to dancing, and that's a great introduction to Charisse. And Charisse is played by Divine Joy Randolph. I was trying to figure out where I seen her from. Don't you hate that when you see that you're like, oh, where is she from?
Yeah.
And then when you look her up, when you look them up on IMDb or whatever, you're like, and you find that title, you're like, that's where it like.
Right.
And then so she's in Ma George. These are films. She's in Office Christmas Party. She was in Dolomite Is My Name, which is where I seen her last.
Okay.
She was the heavyset star of leading lady of the Eddie Murphy character.
Okay.
And she has a great. Have you seen Dolomite? Is
I
My
haven't
Name?
seen it,
Yeah.
no.
She has this great line at the end where she thanks Eddie Murphy's character for putting a woman of her appearance.
Okay.
Like, you don't see a lot of heavyset
Sure.
women in films, especially back in the day. And then I thought it was such a great moment in that film. So cool. Such a great scene. I don't have any like specifics from that other specific. Oh, they talk about Frankie Valli versus Lauryn Hill, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
Can't Take My Eyes Off You is like the little Latin loopy loo, whatever the Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels
yeah,
and the Righteous Brothers. Yeah. So yeah, they
Like, bullshit.
yeah.
Is it, how can it be bullshit to state a preference? I love how in the movie Rob says that, and then in the show Simon says that. Like I said, he has more agency, right?
Yes.
He sticks up for himself.
I don't know if it's in the same scene or not, but I did notice while I was watching it, the episode a second time, there was a neon sign that says no CDs, and it made me think if the original movie had that sign in the store of the championship final, because now vinyl is cool, it's hip.
CDs
But
are kind of cool too.
During the time of the original movie, vinyl was not exactly cool, and so CDs were the main form of music when the movie was made.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think so.
I'll have to go back and
I know Rob bought a Marie DeSalle CD and he had a CD player.
Sure.
So he wasn't like totally against it, or maybe he just had it, for utilitarian purposes, just to listen to new stuff or something. I don't know. Who knows? Good question though. Do you have anything else to add about the Shui scene, or
was the scene where the good looking guy comes in and he starts Shazamming? Was that?
I believe so. Yeah.
I thought that was funny. So he's Shazamming the song, and
he's like, "I'm right here."
Sharice resents it.
Excuse me. May I help you?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
You do know there's an actual person standing right here in front of you? You aware? I'm here.
She's right there.
I'm sorry. I just thought Shazam would be easier.
Oh, okay. So you thought Shazam would be easier. So it's hard for you to open up your fine-ass motherfucking mouth and say to me, hey, miss, I think this song is fly as shit. Do you by chance know who sings it? At which point I would say to you, yes, you motherfucking fine-ass Italian stallion. I do know. It's Le Scarp. They are French, and it's located right
Right over here.
Right over here. How much is it, Johnny?
It's $20.
$20. The motherfucking shit's on sale.
And it's just funny because both the movie and the show are representing record store workers as feeling superior, that their knowledge of music and records is superior to the mere mortal, and the fact that Shazamming is taking away the opportunity for the record store worker to demonstrate their superior record knowledge. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But she kept on saying funny things like, "Oh, yeah, if you weren't so fine, I'd do this." I thought it was great.
Yeah. It's such an obvious, it's such a great modern kind of example, because I do the same thing. I don't want to talk to this person that's high and mighty and it's gonna be like condescending to me. I'm gonna Shazam this shit. It's like, would you rather get a text message or a phone call? Like, who can get the phone call anymore? You don't want awkward conversation. You want a text.
I think
you know what I mean?
That exchange brought up an interesting issue of the times when that guy says, "Oh, this place blows." I think it kind of exposed him as like a fake music fan. The type of person where music's just like a lifestyle accessory, as opposed to like really loving music. I don't know. I took it as a comment on the state of modern music fandom, that there's a lot of posers.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I to connect it to the movie. I know there's another scene in another episode, but I took it as a reference to the guy looking for Stevie Wonder for his daughter.
Right. No. That happens later, though.
I know it happens later, but still, where they force him out of the music store.
Yeah.
Shri says something to the effect of, "You gotta earn something, buy something," which I took on as a comment of...
You mean the guy who's trying to use the restroom?
Yeah. Oh, I
think you're ahead.
Am I mixing things?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
But I thought it was also a comment on how music gets taken granted for in the modern era. Like, in this era of free downloads, music's free. They're throwing music at you. You can get music whenever you want, whether it's through free streaming, free downloads, pirating, whatever it might be. It's just like, music can mean less when it's just so easily accessible, where you're not really doing anything to get it. And I don't know. I don't want to sound like an old guy where, like, back in my day, you had to save up your lunch money to buy, a tape or a CD. But I think there is something to it when you have to buy something. You will take the time to get to know music, and it might mean more to you. But I don't know if I want to go down this road. It might just be.
Yeah, you're sounding a little get off my lawn there, old guy there.
So,
Edwin.
I'll
Showing
stop-
your age there.
I'll stop right there. But
No, it's fine because I don't want to disagree, but I do see where you're coming from because I did grow up in that era as well. I do appreciate an album more when I bought it because I did buy it. But I am in an age right now. I'm a DJ. I DJ for a popular crowd, and I DJ for dance, party club people. So I'm of the era where I need to have access to things quickly and immediately. So I see both sides of the coin. I'm not downplaying the other side of one to the other, but I also see the benefits of having all, because there's so many choices. There's so many artists out there. It's oversaturated. The market is oversaturated, but you can see that as a bad thing, or you see it as a good thing. Because I see it as like there's so many choices, and if you find a good thing out of a sea of blandness, like that's gonna be a really good gem. You know what I mean? So I see both sides of the coin. Number 4 we're on right now is Justin Kitt, the comedian, correct? Mm-hmm. And all I wrote here was fuckboy because they're on the low, on the LD, right? They're
right. He didn't seem to be much.
Yeah, he wasn't even. I forgot about him already.
Right.
Like, I guess she just put him on there as a filler to put on the list, right?
Sure.
But what happened in the scene? You remember? She just meets him at a stand-up show, right?
Yeah, and like the allure was that it was an affair and it was exciting because everything was in secret. But once they became official, then that's when things lost, the exciting element.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's all that happened, right? It was just like a really quick little flashback.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so I have the next scene here as Clyde returns. Or am I missing something?
Did you want to talk about Mac? Because Mac is introduced.
Oh, was he? Oh, that's right. She bumps into him.
Yeah.
Right on the street
before
Clyde.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's right. So yeah, he's back in town. Apparently, he's after a year, but he's been back. Well, we don't know yet, but that's the first time that Rob runs into him. And is that when she runs into the bike and she gets that injury?
Yes.
Okay. So I forget what happens in the conversation. Do you want to recap that, or anything to talk about? It was just like a oh hey, good to see you again kind of thing.
Yeah, you're back in town.
Yeah.
This and that. Yeah. I think there was that much in the conversation. I'm sure it got Rob's character thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we just don't know.
Yeah.
We're just like, what happened? All we can do is speculate, and we just know that Rob still has feelings for Mac, and still holds a torch for him, and is going through some stuff, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Just like Rob of the movie. So, and then after that, we get into. Oh, and that okay. So, I'll save that till the end. But okay, so the next scene we see Clyde returning, right? And
yes.
he reveals that he did not leave. His car got towed.
Yeah.
And they have a cute little exchange. And he brings him the French. He brings her the French toast. After all, he does return with the French toast that they were talking about to go get. And he asks if he can come in. And Rob says, I don't know if I think that's a good idea. Right?
Yeah, with the Clyde character at this point, you don't know, is Clyde just kind of a one-night stand, or is Clyde going to end up being someone more important?
Well, I think the fact that he shows up again at the end and they have a extended conversation shows that he's going to be a major character.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's not just if we didn't see him again the rest of the episode, I would, he would have been just a one-night stand. But as it happens, he returns at the end. He wasn't looking for a one night stand. He sees, he likes her. He saw something special. He thinks we had something. And they have a little cute little thing where he's like, you don't think it's a good idea, or you don't know if you think it's a good idea.
Right.
I thought that was a cool little banter there. Anything else to add to that, or do you want to move on to the next scene?
Yeah. Let's
Move on
to
Okay.
the next scene.
So, the movie ends, and this is where it's revealed that the episode has been jumping around in chronology.
Sure.
And it jumps back to the first set with Clyde, because when Rob runs into Mac is actually the time where she has her first date, right?
Yeah.
Because she has the visual cue is the bandage on her arm.
Yeah,
So when
yeah.
Clyde's like, "What happened to your hand?"
Yeah,
Right?
right.
So before she went on the date with Clyde, she ran into Rob. I mean, she ran into Mac. Sorry. So I thought it was cool, and then I think this was. That's where the episode ends, right? And then she comes back home, and then she listens to a record, and she sees the lady alone in her apartment smoking.
Yeah.
And then that's where you get kind of like that, almost like a metaphor for herself. That
What she might
she
become,
doesn't
yeah.
want to become.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Do you have anything else to add to those scenes, or?
Yeah, a couple things. When you look at her place, you see the vinyl stacked, and you know that some comment from someone is going to be like, "Oh, you really shouldn't stack those vinyl." So it's kind of foreshadowing.
Okay.
And, the way it ends, where she puts on the Ann Peebles Can't Stand the Rain, the music choices are really good. I saw Questlove was some kind
he's
of
a
music
producer.
supervisor.
He's a
music-
executive producer or something.
So,
That's great.
that the musical choices are going to be pretty nice. And, I thought that was a good music to play out too.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about the episode. Do you want to get into our top 5 moments of the episode?
Top 5 moments.
Or we can just list 5 moments.
Sure.
Okay.
One of my top 5 moments happens early in the episode where Rob mentions Talking Book, the Stevie Wonder album, just so casually without mentioning Stevie Wonder, making it obvious. I knew the show was going to be for music fans, like where they just mention album titles without, fully just explaining everything. I really enjoyed that. I like paying attention, being so music centric of a TV show based on the movie and all that. Just like paying attention to like what details are they putting out there, like which band T-shirts are they wearing, or what album covers are they showing. And I noticed like in Rob's place there was a Whitney Houston album showing in one scene, and then later I think it's like hanging on the wall, and in another scene it's flipped around where you see the back cover and it's underneath the turntable. Just like little details like, oh, okay, she must have played it, she must have done something for that album to move from off the wall to underneath the turntable. Just little details like that. I don't know if it's was intentional or on purpose, but just little things I tried to pick up on.
Okay. Yeah, I liked one of my favorite moments is when they're dancing along to Come On Eileen.
Yeah.
Not when she turns it on, but like I like that too. But the part where they finally just start dancing together in the shop to it. You know? It's like, okay, let's let loose a little, and we start dancing to it.
Hit me. Woo! Yo, you know what's so fucking crazy? I had a fucking dream about this shit last night.
Were you wearing the overalls?
Yeah, and what's so crazy, I was having a dream about it, and then yeah, man. And then I was like, yo, I gotta listen to the song. And I had to listen to it and see if I really like it, and I forgot. This song is dope as shit.
I liked how it was, like, in the movie, it was just Jack Black's character just imposing his will, but in the show, everyone was getting into the song, so Simon's character was enjoying it, along with Charisse. Whereas in the movie, Jack Black was the only one that was feeling the walking on sunshine.
Yeah, I think some of the differences between the movie and the film, I think, obviously it's a show, so we have more running time to spend with these characters, so they're a bit more fleshed out. We get to hang out with them a bit more. They're not just like comic relief.
Sure.
You know, because like in the movie, their purpose was to lighten the movie up a bit, because Rob's stuff is so dramatic, right?
Sure.
Kind of heartbreaking. It's about him going through a breakup. So obviously he's this sad sack loner, and you have to kind of, counterpoint it with some humor. And so they're kind of one note. They're kind of just like almost caricaturish,
Sure.
Whereas Simon and Charisse do have time for themselves to actually shine. And they're funny, but they're not like caricatures,
Yeah.
I think most of my favorite moments are just like the callbacks. You fucking bitch, let's work it out. I just love when you see her in the rain and in the leather jacket. I love when she says, Mac, you made it to the list. Number 5 with a bullet. I just love her line delivery on that. And I love every time, they DJ. I love when she's like, no request, dude. We all know, as DJs, we all know we don't like requests. Obviously, I'm taking them more now today because I have a lot more, modern hits to deal with, and modern people just be like, oh, I want to hear that and hear this and that. But I was of that of that philosophy of no request for the longest time, so I completely relate to that. And I think one of my I had one final one, but I can't think of one. Do you have any more, Dad?
I don't remember exactly what scene or context, but there's a time towards the end of the episode where Zoe Kravitz's character uses Dick as, a universally...
You mean Simon?
No, I think it's Rob, where she refers, I think, to herself as being a dick. So when you use dick to apply to male or female, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to get on a tangent, but there's a Yeah song, Black Tongue, where it refers to a girl as being a no good dick, and just like where you just apply that term universally, whether it's a man or a woman or whatever. I don't. It's kind of random, but
yeah,
I did like that.
Okay, I think one of my number one moment probably is the lady alone in her apartment smoking, because I think it's a great like economical visual cue.
Yeah.
To sum up a theme, because in the film, which I just saw recently last night, so it's fresh in my head, Rob talks at length with his mom.
Yeah.
And his mom's like, it's again like when she's like, she's expecting grandkids.
Yeah.
And then they had to go into it like, I'm fine, by the way.
Yeah.
And then she could just, they summed up in a 5-minute conversation what she's going through. Like,
Sure.
she doesn't want to be alone, right? And it just
and that
it just sums up the theme of the show.
And I want to say that old lady in the apartment across the way comes back later.
It's a recurring visual theme. So cool. What is your rating out of 5 stars for this episode?
I give it a solid 4 out of 5.
Okay.
4.5 out of 5.
Oh,
if I
okay,
can,
okay. We're doing 0.5s now. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5. I don't think I've been. It hooked me, like I told you earlier when we were having a pre-conversation. Like I had very low expectations for this film or for this TV show because of our close connection with the film.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not of the personality of why you gotta remake everything because it's just the nature of the beast.
Sure.
I'm a film student. I studied TV and film industry, so I know what works and what doesn't and what sells. And they're gonna do this, so might as well do it with a property that I love.
Yeah.
So I wasn't expecting too much, but it took me by surprise, and it was better than I expected.
Sure. You don't want a shot-by-shot remake that's redundant. You want something that honors what it's drawing from, but will give it something new for sure.
Yeah. Cool. So if you don't have anything else to add,
no, I think that's a good,
great,
good place to close.
Awesome. Do you have any social media platform that people can find you at, or do you not?
Nothing too interesting. So
you don't want to give out your Instagram, or
maybe on the next episode.
Okay, sure. Okay, no problem. So you can find us at highfidelitytv.wordpress.com. That is the working domain as of now. We don't have an Instagram yet. We don't have an email yet. We're just in the early stages, so please bear with us. If you liked our first episode, if you have any feedback, I guess you can't really do anything about it because you don't have a place to reach us. You can leave a comment and on the website. So we value your feedback, and if you guys enjoyed the episode, please like and subscribe. And thank you for joining us. Thank you, Edwin, for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure.
And stay tuned for episode 2, titled Track 2. Thank you, guys.
1, split up with girlfriend. 2, ditch college. 3, go to work in struggling record shop. 4, become owner of said record shop and stay there for the rest of life. And 5, well, there is no 5.